That is one big pile of shit.
Load is part 1 of 2 of the double, almost quadruple back alley abortion known as the Load Reload double CD. Load came out in 1996 in the middle of the 90s, and the artwork is absolutely horrific. It is the band members' blood and semen, and the Metallica logo looks like a glam band logo. On one of the promotional ads for this album on Kerrang! Magazine, in an interview with Metallica, they said, "We don't like to be identified with metal anymore." Now, here we go. This is where the fucking band completely sells out for money and sells out their souls and completely flips off everyone, all their friends, all their family, all their fans, everything. They just say, fuck it all. We want to make the longest album ever, which is like fucking 160 minutes of tripe. Metallica were the biggest band in metal. Whether or not you thought the Black Album was good didn't matter. They were leading the scene, and they could have led it in any direction where it was still that like Black Album sound or like a thrash metal sound again. They could have kept metal going through the 90s, and a lot of people like to say, you know, grunge killed metal, and in a way it did because fucking Metallica succumbed to alternative music. Instead of leading the pack back from this dying metal scene that was starting to shrivel away, they could have continued and brought metal through the 90s and not just let it completely die off. But at this point, because Metallica had completely turned, they had cut all their hair, they had put weird makeup and shit, they just completely denounced everything that they stood for. Metallica was the band for the underground people. They were the band that was like, we are what the fuck we are. We don't go to any sort of trend, and what we started out with is what we're gonna do forever. We're fucking whiplashers, we're metal, we're the metal fucking militia. I mean, they were known for fucking, like, saying shit to the actual members of Motley Crue when they were getting famous. Like, before Metallica was even a thing, James and Lars would shout faggots to the members of Motley Crue. And now they are fucking country blues, rock, and alternative rock, and maybe a little bit of metal if you look really hard. But yeah, of course, have the horrendous vocals from James just go like, yeah! And this time around, it's even worse because he like hits these horribly pitchy notes that are absolutely unheard of. There's so much wah from Kirk's guitar that it seems like the semen that was supposed to be on the artwork from Kirk went into his fucking guitar effects. And of course, this is when Lars starts to drum really, really shittily. All of his drumming on this album is just shit, slow tempo stuff. And when you get to like the worst songs off the album, his drumming is like off time. It's horrendous. And Bob Rock, I think at this point was starting to pressure him into this direction. He was like, yeah, let's make Metallica like this weird art rock band, like Lou Reed or some shit, or like David Bowie. Of course, these albums somehow went #1. Every Metallica album does. But the fan base, for the most part, fucking hated these albums when they came out. Of course, at this point, like I said with the Black Album, they were writing songs to try to make, like, be creative and actually write songs that to them were good. But with these albums, they just wrote like 1 or 2 or 3 hits or like decent songs, and the rest are hilariously bad filler. Ain't My Bitch is like cool at first, where it sounds like it's starting to have like a weird thrashy sound, but you can already tell right away that something sounds off. It sounds like they have this weird fucking production, and it sounds sort of bluesy and awkward. The drumming sounds really terrible. The riffs are kind of decent though, but then James's voice is starting to sound more shitty as the song gets along. And then that chorus is just absolutely stupid. That ain't my bitch! Ha! Then we somehow get an even worse song, 2x4, which is like really, really country and bluesy, and this one is just absolutely ridiculously stupid. It's not absolutely horrendous, the chorus is horrible, and James' singing is pretty bad. Then we have an interesting song, The House That Jack Built. This one has like a really weird intro that sounds like some sort of country song, and then we get right into this really thrashy sort of song that's slow but has that like the thing that should not be sort of vibe to it. The riff to it's really cool and actually kind of like James' singing. It's just that the song is way, way, way too long. It's kind of boring, and the later parts of the song are not interesting. Then we have the hit single Until It Sleeps. I kind of like the song. It's very, very alternative and like grungy. I like the way James sings on it, even like the chorus. But I don't like the second chorus. But for the most part, it's still a pretty cool song. Then we have the song King Nothing. I actually do kind of like this one. It's very, very heavy and actual metal. It sounds like something that'd be on the Black Album. James at first sounds really, really good and growly, but then it starts to sound really pitchy. I really, really, really like the chorus though. I like how later in the song it gets like this really dark sort of ambient vibe, sort of like of Wolf and Man. Then we have an interesting song called Hero of the Day. It's okay. It's very melodic and stuff. I think this one was also a single. And James definitely sings really good on here. It kind of sounds more like an alternative grunge song again. Then we have the absolute best song of the album. The only thing that I can even describe as great on this album. We have Bleeding Me, which is weird because it's really long. It's like 8 minutes and has a very grungy sort of vibe to it. James sounds amazing on this song, but like the beautiful melodic ambient part at the beginning is great, but oh my god, it gets incredible when it gets heavier. James' singing on the chorus is really, really amazing. And then the song, as it goes on, actually starts to incorporate more and more interesting parts. It just keeps getting better and better, and the guitar solo is actually good and not completely infested with flaw. Then we have Cure, which is absolutely horrendous. The singing is horrible, and the riffs are terrible. It's just really slow and awkward as hell. There's nothing interesting to the song at all. It's not even catchy. And it's irritating and boring. Then we have probably the worst song on this side of the album, of like the load reload sort of thing. This is Poor Twisted Me. It has like a semi-decent riff for like a second. It's slow again, and James's vocals are horrible. They like puts it through this horrible effect. And it sounds like he's trying to sound shitty on purpose. Like he was laughing his ass off to the bank, cashing in on these horrible, horrible, obvious filler songs. Then we have the song Wasting My Hate. And this song actually has a kind of decent riff. And it's actually kind of short. It's, for the most part, an okay song. And it's good for how long it is. And it's not really that boring. Then we have the song Mama Said, which is kind of weird. This was another single, and I'd put it on the same spot as maybe like Hero of the Day, where it's not bad, and it's kind of like pretty sounding. It's not really that catchy though. There's not that many hooks to it. Although I do kind of like the verse where it has this like really, really depressing ambient vibe to it. But then the chorus is weird because then you have like slide guitars coming, so it sounds like a country song all of a sudden. Then we have Thorn Within, which is pretty shitty. James comes in and ruins the song with these horrible vocals, and then the riff gets like really stupid in the chorus, and the chorus is horrendous. The guitar solo is terrible, and it feels too long even though it's not even that long. Then we have Ronnie, which is fucking horrendous. There's nothing interesting about this song. It's boring as hell. Horrible riffs, uninteresting chorus, and the vocal melodies are terrible. Then we have another really good song, but the problem with the Outlaw Torn is that it's way too fucking long. The song is like 10 minutes, and they kind of plod along with the verses, and it almost sounds like, oh my god, this is going to be horrendous 10 minutes of shit with like the weird sort of verse. But I kind of like it now because it sort of has that like Western movie vibe to it, because that's what the song's about, like an outlaw and stuff. But that chorus is awesome. The main riff in that chorus is absolutely amazing. It's one of my favorite Metallica riffs. James is singing on that chorus is really good. And I also really love the middle section. Like the riffs in there are really cool, and the guitar solo is actually pretty awesome. But like I said, it's way too long. If they cut out like 3 minutes, it would have been really, really cool. But it's cool for what it is.